On behalf of the Greater Fort Kent Area Chamber of Commerce, I offer each and every one of you a warm welcome to our 71st annual dinner. At this time, I am pleased to introduce Travis Duval from United Insurance and our very own board member, Jen Daigle, our Masters of Ceremonies for the evening.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Travis.
And I'm Jen, and we'll be your Masters of Ceremonies for the evening. Welcome to the Greater Fort Kent Area Chamber of Commerce 71st Annual Dinner Meeting. Tonight we celebrate another successful year of service by our Chamber of Commerce to the communities of the Upper St. John Valley.
This is one of the events that I look forward to every year, and I know a lot of people in this room, and I'm close to a lot of them, and every one of them before I started. So whatever you do, don't embarrass me or anybody that you know tonight. So that's my goal this evening, is not to embarrass Jen, my wife, the people I work with. So we'll see how it goes. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as Jane Rioux sings us the National Anthem, followed by the Canadian National Anthem, to be sung by Haidyn Saucier.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all our sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true North strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you, Jane and Haidyn. We now call upon Father Labrie to deliver the invocation.
heads and open your hearts in prayer. Dear Lord, we're together this night in one place, even though we come at life and business by unique paths. But to be in this group here means that we have the ability to make a choice to affect changes. Please give us the wisdom to make choices that contribute towards the growth of our communities. Not just financial growth, but choices that benefit our employees and their families. Choices that serve the common good. Decisions that improve our communities. Show us how to prosper together and not at the expense of someone else. Thank you for the blessings of our community. Help us to encourage our sense of unity and common purpose. Thank you for making this a place where business and the people have the opportunity to prosper. Thank you for the Chamber and its work on our behalf. And thank you for the people who volunteer when there is a need. Please bless our food. Bless those who have put themselves in harm's ways for our protection. And guide the decisions we make and give us good cheer for every day. We ask your blessings on this event and on the friends gathered here in the name of the Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Bonnie. In a few moments, our caterer and the National Honor Society students from Fort Kent Community High School will assist with the appointing of tables in order for you to serve yourselves. And enjoy the wonderful dinner that has been tastefully prepared by Chamber member, County Market Farms.
Saucier, Jill Jandro, and the Knights of Columbus. Travis will now introduce our distinguished guests for the evening.
We are pleased to have a number of distinguished guests joining us this evening. It is my pleasure to ask the following people to please stand and be recognized. First, the 2018 Board of Directors. Connie Willette, President. Darnell Oliver, First Vice President. Courtney Debray, second vice president. I'm gonna mess this one up, Steve, I'm sorry. Steve Chabot, treasurer. In addition, Andrew Burden, Denise Corriveau, Don Daigle, Jennifer Daigle, Denise Plourde. Please rise as I say your guys' names so that we can recognize them. We'll power through the rest of them here, and I've been to many events where they say hold the applause. Nobody does. So hold your applause. Megan Plourde, Jake Robichaud, Mackenzie Roy, we had one that wanted to cheer back there. Nikki Shields, Susan Tardy, Mike was in, and Dona Saucier as executive director. Please stand and congratulate them.
We are also joined this evening by a number of other individuals who have had a significant impact on the evolution of the Chamber of Commerce. I would like to ask all of the past presidents of the Chamber of Commerce that are in attendance to please stand and be recognized. Please stand. It is also my pleasure to acknowledge another group of distinguished men and women with the past Fort Kent Citizens of the Year joining us this evening. Please stand and be recognized. Distinguished guests, please stand and be recognized. Representative John Martin, Main House District 151. Barbara Hazlett from Congressman Jared Golden's office. Tricia House from Senator Susan Collins' office. Mayor Jean-Pierre Ouellet, Mayor of the Hope Madawaska region. Kathy Pelletier, Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce to Hope Madawaska. At this time, I ask Board Member Denise Plourde to please come forward and introduce our guest speaker of this evening. Good evening. James Pineau is a Senior Area Manager for the U.S. Small Business Administration, Main District Office. Jim joined the SBA in 2014, and in this role, he provides organizational, representation, and program delivery for Aroostook, Hancock, Penobscot, Piscataquis, Waldo, and Washington counties. The SBA helps Americans start, build, and grow businesses. Prior to joining the SBA, Jim was a legislative assistant, field representative for the U.S. Representative Shelley Pingree, where he worked on issues such as economic workforce development and military and veterans affairs. He is a veteran of the United States Marine Corps and earned his bachelor's degree of communication from the University of Southern Maine. Jim lives in Bangor with his wife and their 2 sons. Please join me in giving Jim a warm welcome this evening.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jim. I work for the federal government and I'm here to help. I swear to God. I'm bringing that saying back. I want to thank Denise and Connie and everyone for inviting me here to the 71st Annual Fort Kent Area Chamber dinner. It's been a great night so far. I promise to make it just as good. I'm not going to ramble on too long. I did want to start by just talking a little bit about what the U.S. Small Business Administration does when operational for businesses. I've been off for a month, guys. I got to warm up into this, okay? So The Small Business Administration is one of the smaller agencies within the federal government, but I would like to believe that we have one of the largest impacts. What we do is we provide the strength of the federal government to help American small businesses, and we do that in a myriad of ways, but what we do basically, the three major ways that we help small businesses is we help through access to capital through government-backed loans, which I know have helped, SBA loans have helped a lot of small businesses in the county. We help with technical advice at no charge, business plan assistance, cash flow projections, and we also help small businesses who want to sell to the federal government. Because as I said, when operational, the federal government's a pretty big bad animal, and they buy a lot of stuff. And our role at the Small Business Administration is to make sure that American small businesses get a piece of that federal contracting pie. And that's where I spend a lot of my time. But tonight's remarks, that's me, isn't it? Tonight's remarks, I want to keep in mind with the theme. When Denise asked me to give remarks tonight, she asked that I try and connect with the area and the theme of inspire, innovate, and lead. And in all honesty, the first block of that, when I thought of inspiration, all I could think of were things that my drill instructor said to me and Bill Murray quotes. So I've got that going for me, which is good. But it got me thinking about who inspires us. You know, what type of people inspires us? Business leaders, civil rights icons, military leaders, religious leaders, political leaders. Okay, athletes, but who is it that inspires us? It's someone is saying these quotes that I have stuck in my brain, right? That came from somewhere. And we can look to people for inspiration, whether we're running a business or a nonprofit. And a lot of times, inspiration is what we need to get through the day. And I also thought about what inspires us. Places can inspire us. I grew up in Western Maine. I spend most of my vacation time in the North Maine woods in Piscataquis County, and it looks a lot like beautiful Aroostook County, if you ask me, and I think it rivals any landscape. So whether you're talking the St. John Valley or Allagash or the Moosehead Lake region, the place we find ourselves here in Maine, I think, is pretty inspirational. So even if you're not in the tourism industry, I think it's still really easy to be inspired by Maine and Maine's landscape. And I think it's a great place to want to not only operate a business, but to raise a family. And I think for a lot of business owners, being able to come home and sit on the back porch with your family and look over the landscape that we have here is what makes it worth it. Maine's called vacation land for a reason, and I think we have to remind ourselves that people come here from away, and I think we need to want them to come here, and I think we need to take a step back sometimes and realize that we shouldn't take this place for granted. Maine is a beautiful, inspirational place, and the business owners and nonprofits and communities that make up it make it even stronger. The other theme of the night is innovation, and when I think about innovation, I think about collaboration, and I think about all of the partnerships that are necessary to help small businesses and communities. Whether you're talking community development block grants, where the money starts at the feds and goes to the state and then goes to the towns, so we can do Main Street redevelopment, or SBA loans, so we can work with our lending partners to help a small business get that idea from a napkin to fruition. This type of collaboration is important, and I think a lot of times we're successful when we innovate and realize that we can't wait for one investor. We can't wait for one big business. We have to work together and understand what role every person and every organization can play, so we can solve problems for each other and work with each other. It's important that we have systems in place so a person isn't the solution. You know, that's something I remember my Sergeant Major telling me over and over again. You can't be the solution. It's got to be the system. So if you're a business owner or you're a nonprofit leader, I think it's important to take a step back and think about all the work that you do. If you have employees, what is it that you can do that they could also do? What is it that you're doing that they could do? We ran a program in Bangor last year called Emerging Leaders, and it was a wonderful experience. We had about 10 firms graduate, and we spent a lot of time teaching those CEOs how to understand their own firms and how to innovate at their own place of work. And what I realized as being the program manager was so often business owners are so busy with the day-to-day minutia of running your business, you forget to be entrepreneurial. And you forget that the reason you started that business, or you bought that business, or you said, yes, I want to take that business from this family member, is because you have an entrepreneurial spirit. And that's not something that you can put in a box. And I think a lot of times business owners do everything because they have this sense of, well, if I don't do it, who will? And I think what you need to remember is we're all special, we're all unique, and we're all replaceable, right? And if it's your business, you can convey the most effective message about it. So you have to develop systems in place so you can leave the shop. You can leave the place of business, and you can develop a system where you're comfortable leaving. You know, I think a lot of business owners have to remember that it is just as important to be working on your business as it is to be working in your business. And that is something that we taught those CEOs in that course I just mentioned. And it was eye-opening for them, because the homework that we gave them, these CEOs, was homework on their own business. We wanted them to understand their own finances. We wanted them to understand their own revenue stream and their own marketing techniques. And the first couple of weeks, you know, when you assign someone homework, it doesn't matter if it's my 11-year-old son or a 35-year-old business owner, they're not happy about it. But after a couple of months, these CEOs realized that they were studying themselves. They were studying their own patterns of behavior, the systems within their businesses, and they soon realized that if they don't develop a system so they can leave the shop, the business isn't going to go forward, and it isn't going to achieve the goals that they had set in place. And it's really important to be flexible, to understand that the more planning you can do, the more knowledge you can get. Knowledge is power. The more knowledge you can get beforehand when you're running a business, the better. Those of us, I think we all know that 11th hour emergencies are really hard to fix. And if you are owning a business, a lot of times 11th hour emergencies crop up. And when it comes to money or planning, if there are things that you could have done beforehand, you'll probably get yourself out of that situation a lot quicker. So it's important to look for inspiration, whether it's in your family, in leaders. It's important to innovate, to want to collaborate and work together. And it's also time to talk about leadership. You know, leaders are servants. Whether you're working for the government, or you're working for a nonprofit, or you're operating a business, Business owners are problem solvers. Whether you know it or not, you are solving a problem for a customer. Your product, your service is you've identified a solution to somebody's problem. You know, and you have to be passionate about it. I'm reading a book right now by Earl Brecken. It's called To Return to Moose River, and he's a former Maine master guide. Has anybody read it? Anybody heard of it? And best line in that book so far is somebody asked him about what he does as a Maine guide, and they said, "So you know, people pay you to take you in the woods?" And he said, "No, anybody can go in the woods. They pay me to get them out." And I thought, wow, that's great. You know, I've been lost a bunch of times. I would have given anything to find my way out, right? And he solved somebody's problem, and it's easier when you're passionate about it. Has anybody here ever worked in a job that sucked, that they didn't like? I mean, not now, of course, right? But how much better is it when you're passionate about what it is that you do? How much better is it when you have found meaning in getting somebody out of the woods, right? How much more effective, how much more creative, how much more joy do you have when you're helping people solve problems? So you don't need to be a government employee or owning or operating a nonprofit to be serving. Entrepreneurial spirit doesn't pick and choose where it goes. So the more meaning you can find, the better off you'll be. You know, leaders also help define success. There are so many initiatives going on right now in Maine and in this county and all 16 counties. And it's hard to remember, I think, that everybody wants Maine to succeed. But you have to identify and have shared goals and have clear communication about what is success. This Emerging Leaders program that I talked about, at the beginning of the course, we asked all the CEOs what success was for them, what was their goal. And some of them wanted to open 3 more stores. When you asked them why, they really couldn't tell you why. They had just picked 3 more stores. And some of them wanted to purchase some land or expand their business. And one of the business owners, she had a goal of X many more stores, but she couldn't really articulate why. And then about 3/4 of the way through the course, she realized that developing the systems at her business that we had helped her realize she needed, she was able to implement those systems, those HR and management systems, and have other employees help with that management. And she took the first 2-3-day weekends that she had off in like 10 years. And so she came into class that Tuesday night and said, "I have a new definition of success. I develop systems and I can take a day off." And that is perfect. That made her so much more effective the next time she went to work. So it's really important to look for leaders and to not be afraid to be that leader. Leaders don't always come up with the idea to solve the problem. I think a lot of times leaders are the ones who can survey the room and say, "You know what, I might not be able to solve this problem, but you can, and I need you to help me." And it doesn't matter how you solve the problem as long as the problem gets solved. In closing, I just want to say thank you again for letting me come up today. Thank you for waiting. We are here to help, and I really appreciate you guys letting me speak to you tonight. Thank you.
James, thank you so much for the presentation. Jen would like to present a token of appreciation on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce. At this time, I'd ask that you turn to page 6 of your annual report for the 71st annual meeting of the Greater Fort Kent Area Chamber of Commerce. To conduct this meeting, I call upon 2018 Chamber President Connie Fuller.
Thank you.
Can I have the board members please come forward and have a seat at the table? Please bring your program with you. Members of the Greater Fort Kent Area Chamber of Commerce, as your president, I call the 71st annual meeting to order. Let me remind all members that this is a membership meeting. Therefore, all representatives of a member business and associate members of the chamber, along with the chamber board of directors, are eligible to move an agenda item and have full voting rights. The second item before us this evening is approval of the agenda on page 6 of your annual report. At this time, I will entertain a motion to accept the agenda as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Connie, could you tell them who they are? Could you say their name, please? Who has it?
Alan and Kevin.
Alan and Kevin. The approval of the agenda has been moved and seconded. I will now call for a vote. All in favor of passage of the agenda, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carried. Item 3 on our agenda is approval of the meeting minutes. To present those, I call upon our Executive Director, Dona Saucier.
To present for consideration to the membership of the Greater Fort Kent Area Chamber of Commerce the minutes of the 70th annual meeting of the Chamber held at the Fort Kent Knights of Columbus Hall on Friday, February 2, 2018. The minutes of said meeting can be found on page 7 of your annual report. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. I will now entertain a motion to accept as presented the meeting minutes of the 70th annual membership meeting of the Greater Fort Kent Area Chamber of Commerce. I have a first, Mike, and second, Kevin. Approval of the meeting minutes has been moved and seconded. All in favor? Motion carries. The fourth item on our annual meeting agenda is approval of the Treasurer's Report. For that, I call upon Treasurer Steve Chabot.
On behalf of the Greater Fort Kent Area Chamber of Commerce, it is my distinct honor to present to membership the 2018 financial report for your consideration. The report can be found on pages 8 through 10 of your annual report. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. At this time, I will entertain a motion to accept as presented by Treasurer Steve Chabot the annual fiscal report for the year 2018. Can I have a first? Louise. Second? Norm. It has been moved and seconded to accept the Treasurer's Report of 2018. All in favor? Motion carried. The next item on our agenda is election of the 2019 nominated Board of Directors. For that, I call upon Director Jennifer Daigle.
On behalf of the Greater Fort Kent Area Chamber of Commerce, it is my pleasure to nominate the following individuals for election to the Board of Directors. I ask that you please stand as your name is called and remain standing until the vote is taken. For 3-year terms, beginning in February of 2019, Steve Chabot, representing Millbridge Restaurant, that is Steve's second term. Daigle, representing Heritage Shop and Save, this is Don's first term. Lance Morin, representing Acadia Federal Credit Union and Fort Kent Lions Club, this is Lance's first term. And Denise Plourde, representing North State Federal Credit Union, this is Denise's second term. These are the candidates for election to the Board of Directors.
Thank you, Jen. The proposed candidates for election to the Board of Directors have been presented. Can I have a first? Jake, second? Who did you say? Okay. Okay. The candidates have been moved and seconded. All in favor? Congratulations to all of you.
Congratulations to all. It is now my pleasure to present for consideration the membership of the Greater Fort Kent Area Chamber of Commerce, the proposed slate of officers for 2019. Will the candidates please stand as your name is being called and remain standing through the election? Darnell Oliver, President. Jake Robichaud, First Vice President. Courtney Depre, Second Vice President. And Connie Willette, Past President and Treasurer. These are the candidates for election to the Executive Board of the Chamber.
Thank you, Jen. I will now entertain a motion to accept the slate of officers as presented. Can I have a first? Jim? And a second? Norm? The slate of officers has been moved. All in favor? Motion carries. Congratulations. The final business before us at our membership meeting this evening is adjournment. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Anybody? Tim? Second?
Bar still open?
No. Oh my goodness. I will, okay. All in favor? We stand adjourned.
It is incumbent upon the President of the Chamber to report to the membership on the organization's most recent year of service. It is my pleasure to call upon Connie Willette to deliver her State of the Chamber address.
Thank you, Travis. Thank you all for attending tonight. The Board of Directors are truly humbled by the generous support we receive from all of our members. First of all, I would like to thank the people who helped me make this evening possible. Our annual dinner committee. We have Denise Plourde, Jennifer Daigle, Courtney Depre, Denise Corvo, and Dona Saucier. These girls know how to make things happen. I also want to thank Don Daigle, my husband Kevin, and Norm Plourde with helping decorate the hall this evening. Once again, 2018 came and went in the blink of an eye. The Chamber continues to run like a well-oiled machine. Committee members continue to volunteer their time to ensure these events go off without a hitch. Our destination guide that we printed last year, we have placed a few copies on each table for you to see, was such a great success, we ran out of them mid-year. We reprinted another 5,000 copies to ensure that the visitor centers would have a supply of them until we start working on the new guide next year. This year, we decided to celebrate spring with an events calendar, showcasing the spring melt and the awakening of the many things we put aside during the winter months. This calendar was available online and in print. It was jam-packed with events, seasonal businesses announcing their opening day, specials, sales, and much more. We hope to expand this celebration of spring in the future years to come. Our annual Ploy Festival, a visitor and local favorite, was once again very well attended. It's always such a surprise to me how many people that have never tasted a Ploy. One of my favorite events is the annual Scarecrow Festival and Parade. The excitement on the children's faces as we pass out candy and treats is always so great to see. We again would like to congratulate our business decorating contest winners. First place to Dead River, second place went to Katahdin Trust, and third place went to North State Federal Credit Union. Thank you to everyone who decorated their businesses and added to the spirit of the festival. The annual Holiday Craft Fair, our biggest event of the year, was once again a great success. Saturday was jam-packed, and crafters reported excellent sales. We're almost completely sold out of spaces for next year already. Our Small Business Saturday event is also growing in popularity. We delivered kits to retail stores which included signs, bags, pins, pens, and doormats, and the business coupon book is always a hit. The Fort Kent Christmas tree lighting ceremony is always a treat for the kids, and they look forward to that gift from Santa. We were reminded this year how important of an event this is to our local children. For some, this may be one of the only gifts that they receive. Each of these events bring in visitors to our communities and encourage patronization of our local establishments. We continue to see new businesses open in the greater Fort Kent area. One of the biggest challenges I am hearing is the shortage of employees, and we are seeing this in all types of businesses. That is why it's so important that we continue to attract new people to the area in hopes that they fall in love with it just like we have, and that they stay and choose to work and raise their families here. The Chamber plays an essential part in that. Dona continues to represent the greater Fort Kent area on boards. She maintains our visitor center and promotes commerce through our website and Facebook pages. The theme for this evening is Inspire, Innovate, and Lead. You will see that with this evening's awards that we changed things up a bit and based the awards on the night's theme. The greater Fort Kent area has always had an exceptional work ethic, strong heritage, and has overcome many challenges over time. We have many visitors that are often inspired by this when they visit the area. Sometimes innovation and creativity is needed to be able to earn a living and survive here. We are surrounded with many individuals and businesses who aren't afraid to take initiative and make things happen. These leaders are vital to the success of our area. Tonight, as I am wrapping up 2 years as president of the Chamber Board, I appreciate the opportunity to have served this role. I have enjoyed working with Dona and the board, and I appreciate all the support I have received, especially from the board officers. We have a great board of directors. They are extremely dedicated to this organization and the communities that they work and live in. I look forward to working with our new slate of officers and directors voted in tonight. As I pass the gavel on to Darnell, 2019's Chamber President, I leave you all in good hands. This organization will continue to move forward with our mission of promoting a healthy business environment through tourism, economic vitality, and community development, while preserving our rich cultural heritage. We sincerely appreciate your membership in 2018. Your investment in the Greater Fort Kent Chamber remains a truly vital component to the success of this organization's overall mission. I would like to thank my husband Kevin for allowing me to volunteer him and putting up with me these past few years as president. Again, I would like to thank you for allowing me to serve as your chamber president, and I and my fellow board members look forward to serving you throughout 2019 and again celebrating our successes with you next year at this time. Thank you. At this time, I will present the award given to outgoing board members with 6 or more years of service to the Greater Fort Kent Area Chamber of Commerce. If I had to sum up this director's time served on the board with one word, it would be dedicated. One of the most selfless people I know, she will do whatever it takes to get the job done. Whether she was serving on a committee or not, she was always willing to help out, going above and beyond each and every time we needed something. She makes so many batches of ploys at the Ploy Festival this year, she actually had a blister on her thumb. Now that's dedication. Thank you, Sue Tardy, for all you have done for the Chamber and community. You're the best and we'll miss you terribly. Susan, for your dedicated and outstanding service for the past 6 years towards the betterment of the Greater Fort Kent Area Chamber of Commerce. At this time, it's customary for the Chamber President to present the President's Award to an outstanding board member during the past year. I am in awe of this board member. She has an extremely busy life. She owns her own business, has children who are active in sports. She serves on many committees, organizes fundraisers for Edgar J. Parody Cancer Fund, and volunteers her time for her local school and community. Even with all of this, she finds time to volunteer for the Chamber. She has a great attitude, does whatever she needs to make it happen. It's people like her that make this Chamber so successful. We are very lucky to have her serve on this board. And I am extremely pleased to present Jen Daigle with this year's President's Award. President's Award presented to Jennifer Daigle in appreciation for your drive, determination, and dedication. Thank you for Jennifer's commitment of time, support, and inspiration to this organization. At this time, I would like to ask Darnell Oliver to join me. Darnell, it gives me great pleasure to pass this gavel and welcome you as the incoming president of the Great Chamber. I wish you the best in this coming year.
Oh, it's amazing how time flies when you're having fun. Okay, so that's actually Leonard Darnell Oliver. That's my official legal name. So I know many of you may know of me. Maybe it's through a former employer, so it's business related. Maybe it's through my showcase of talent through the Lions show. Or maybe it's because I've served as your sales consultant, offering you your entertainment and communication needs through Jeans Electronics. Visit us online at jeanselectronics.com, 1-800-829-3632. However you may think you know me, how many of you knew that my first name was Leonard? Okay, so surprising to some. So another surprising thing for some of you to know about me is that I am not originally from this area. I'm guessing from your response, but maybe that was not a surprise. I am from a very small town on the central western border of Alabama called Aliceville. The population's about 3,000. Aliceville has a very interesting and rich history. regarding how the town was started. You know, there was a location, it was a location for a German POW. Has many cotton mills, cotton plantations. Aliceville was also recently in the news with President Trump, Kim Kardashian. You know, they were going through as far as getting a pardon for an imprisoned lady in the prison in Aliceville. So, I know some of you are kind of like getting curious and you want to Google it. So it's Aliceville with an A. So Aliceville. So I know you're going to want to Google that. Well, so Aliceville and the surrounding areas remind me a lot of the St. John Valley. The rolling hills, the bountiful lakes and rivers, the old style buildings, a lot of historic buildings and structures. The landscape is very similar, all except the snow, of course. So also the community, the people in the community are very friendly, very loving and hardworking, and always willing to lend a helping hand. Like here, the people in Aliceville have a very strong sense of school spirit. They have strong faith, and that's, not too much to be said for that because we're in the Bible Belt, of course. My whole family still lives in the area, and when I visit, I'm always greeted by the community with open arms and a heartfelt welcome home. So when I was in high school, I enjoyed playing sports. I was on the football team, I was on the basketball team, the baseball team, and as I remember it, our team uniforms were provided by donations through community and local businesses. I also remember that before football games, our team would go to one of the local restaurants in town and we would have a dinner. And that dinner was paid for by local business sponsorship. Now all of this was made possible because Aliceville was a thriving town and it had a lot of healthy businesses. So there was a lot of sporting events in Aliceville, a lot of community parades, and all of that was well attended. A lot of people came out. In Aliceville, we also had a movie theater, multiple restaurants, as I mentioned before, the community center and city park with lots of activities for the kids. We also had a carnival, a fair that would come into town a couple times a year. So, all of this being said, there was a lot of opportunity in the area. There was plenty of places to work. We had the cotton mill, we had a medical center, multiple places. The people there felt like there was a lot of opportunity and the town was full of life. So flipping forward, 25 years later, now when I go and I visit my hometown, it's not the same Aliceville as I remember it to be. There's an overwhelming feeling of despair. As I drive through the downtown area, a lot of the businesses are closed. The theater is boarded up. There's weeds growing in the parking lot of the cotton mill. And the hospital that was there is vacant. There are no more restaurants. There's only a Subway and a Jack's fast food shop that remain. The town is essentially a ghost town, just like in the movies. So what happened? What happened to my Aliceville? So I'm sure that there are multiple factors that led to the steady decline of the town and the businesses. But I'm willing to bet that there were not any annual chamber dinners being held like this one that focus on engaging the local businesses and town leadership. that celebrate our successes and increase our network of support to help us through those tough times. And there are also a few other things that I'm willing to bet that were different for this area. First, this community is full of progressive thinkers. The people here are open-minded to trying new things and have a willingness to change. People here are not mulling over the million of reasons why things won't work. Why is it so cold? Why is there so much snow? Well, I'm sounding those last. Instead, we're all focused on the reasons how we can make this work. Oh, that snow thing really got me. Second, and this is a big one, is the mindset of the people in this area to shop local. If it's available in the valley, I'm willing to bet you that people are going to buy it in the valley. And that makes a big difference because Amazon has made it so easy to shop online. You know, there's the one-click purchase thing, like, what do I do? That's voice activated. Alexa, buy me this. I mean, one day I was just thinking of a product I wanted. It popped into my shopping cart. So that extra effort that we make to shop online really makes a big difference. Because shopping local helps keep our businesses open and helps keep our businesses healthy. So once again, you can visit us at Genius Lecture. Healthy businesses in our area help support our sporting events. We can buy raffle tickets and support a school PTO. We all thrive. It's a win-win. And third, the people here have a sense of pride about the appearance of the community. Green and clean. Again, aside from when it's snowing. So how many of you have walked past a piece of trash that's even on the sidewalk or in the parking lot and just walked by that without stopping to pick it up and put it in the garbage? Not many of you, I'm sure. That's what makes the difference. Each one of us has that power to contribute to the beauty that's all around us. I mean, if you don't believe me, just click on Facebook. I mean, there's so many posts of aerial pictures. It's people saying, that's my community. This is my community. Look at how beautiful it is. It's amazing. But I do want to say that Aliceville will always be my hometown. My roots are in Alabama. But being surrounded by progressive thinkers who are consistently making that effort to shop local and who are so abundantly willing to showcase that sense of pride about the appearance of the community, all of those things make it very, very, very easy for me to say, wow, this is my home now. And this year, and I'm hoping it's only for this one year. Can I get an amen? I'm very excited to serve as the president of the Greater Fort Kent Area Chamber of Commerce. Thank you.
Just so that everybody recognizes what just happened. Darnell is now president of our chamber. Now, I say that lightheartedly and I say that with a little bit of enthusiasm because he's been my president before in the Lions Club. And I'm really happy that we didn't select him to be our treasurer. And the reason I say that is because every time that we would ask for a treasurer's report, Darnell would always say, some came in, some went out. Can I get a motion to accept the treasurer? And there's a bunch of lions in here that can attest to that. There was no arguments, but we did argue sometimes. We argued every once in a while, being a bunch of gentlemen in a room that have ultimately a common interest but different views on getting there. Sometimes we get a little heated. So the motions start flying. We get a motion and then there's a first and there's a second and then we get lost and we're at a fifth motion to the amendment of the first motion to the third motion and nobody knows what's going on. Darnell, when he was our president, got tired of it. And he legitimately showed up and had studied Robert's rules. And he knew it inside and out. And I remember one day the motions were flying and he, in Darnell fashion, opens up this briefcase that's been passed along for 35 years or however long. And all the presidents get it and it's full of notes that nobody can read. And he pulls out Robert's rules and he starts citing where we need to be in the meeting and correcting us. And I guess what I'm saying here is he's a funny guy. He's proud of where he came from and he's proud of where he is today. So congratulations and best wishes to you, Darnell, as you take on this very important role in our community. At this time, I would once again like to call again none other than Darnell to present the outgoing President's Award.
So, gotta take some context clues. Outgoing President's Award, so that's gonna go to Connie. Connie, you wanna come up? She's not going anywhere. She's gonna be staying right there. So, thank you for your service as president for the Greater Fort Kent Area Chamber of Commerce. You've been an inspiration to the chamber, and your dedication and hard work has not gone unnoticed.
Drum roll, please.
I'd like to present to you, wow, that's kind of nice. I'm probably going to get one of these. Hey, this is about Connie. Thank you so much for your service, and you will continue to be there to support me. As vice president, you're able to determine who is on the board and all that stuff. So I have surrounded myself with a great team to keep me straight.
I now call upon none other than Connie Willette to present this year's Chamber Awards.
Thank you, Travis. Thank you, Darnell. Okay, we're going to start off this evening with the Longevity Award. This organization goes back for centuries. It is said to be the world's largest and oldest fraternity. It has two purposes. First, to inspire its members to live by the tenets of brotherly love, relief, and truth. And second, to join its members in the endeavor to build a world where justice, equality, and compassion shine forth in the happiness of all humankind. The Grand Lodge of Maine started in 1820, not long after Maine became its own independent state. Maine now currently has over 180 lodges. Mason are the founding sponsors of the Shriners Burn Institutes and Shriners Hospital for Crippled Children, both of which offer their services free of charge. The Masonic Lodge is a great supporter of several different programs in the area. A few examples of this are Masonic Bikes for Books. Last year alone, Masonic lodges throughout Maine presented nearly 2,500 bikes and helmets to children throughout the state. Maine Masonic education programs, community betterment grants, and the Aroostook Teen Leadership Camp, which is a great program for our youth. We are proud to say that in the last few years, the Fort Kent Lodge alone has raised and donated several thousands of dollars towards new lights for the soccer fields, the new playground equipment at the Fort Kent Elementary School, along with several of the Masons donating their time and equipment to set up the new playground. Their main focus of these projects is to try and help the youth and the community succeed. It gives me great pleasure to present the Fort Kent Masonic Lodge the 2018 Longevity Award for your long-standing presence and contribution to our communities. Can I have someone come forward?
Okay, sitting back there and anticipating this, had all kinds of stories built up. But I will say this much. My wife has told me that I have many passions and way too many friends to share them with. But one of my passions that I don't need anyone to share with is eating. And how about this meal? I brought Gary up here because just a few short years ago, our lodge was struggling, and Gary was master then and helped us get through some hard times. But since he's guided us through, and I've taken over the ship's control, I guess, we've been fortunate to gain lots of new members who believe in the tenets that were spoke of earlier. And we're real happy to serve Fort Kent. I love Fort Kent. I'm from Caribou, but I'm calling Fort Kent my hometown forever. I'd like to thank the committee for considering us and granting us this award. We're real proud of it. I want to thank the brothers, my Masonic brothers, for all the hard work and all the ideas that I come up with, and they seem to back most of them, and they help me carry it out, because no dream works without some teamwork, and I have a good team with me. Thank you very much.
Next, we have the Inspire Award. The definition of inspire is to fill someone with the urge or ability to do or feel something, especially to do something creative. In the 1940s and 50s, a generation like no other before was born. In their lifetime, this baby boomer generation witnessed some of the greatest social, economic, scientific, and academic achievements in all of history. Not only did they witness it, they were all a part of making it happen. It is not surprising to see that even in the greater Fort Kent area, this generation has been an essential part of the growth and stability of our communities. Think of the businesses, the academic institutions, the buildings, the clubs, events, and even the landscaping throughout the St. John Valley that has been around for the last 50 to 60 years. How many of these actually exist directly because of the work ethic and community spirit of the people of this generation? It is no wonder that as this generation retires out of the workforce, they still continue to find new projects and avenues for personal growth and social change. In 2007, the Fort Kent Elderly Social Action Club, MSAD 27 Continuing Education, and the UMFK Community Education Program met to discuss the formation of the St. John Valley Senior College. And within 8 months of its inception, this senior college, a program under UMFK's Community Education Department, was officially accepted as the 18th senior college in Maine, providing, as is written in its mission, intellectually stimulating learning opportunities and special activities developed primarily for people 50 years of age or older. Since its first semester in 2008, the senior college has offered an average of 10 classes per semester, with topics ranging from animal care, life experiences, architecture, health and wellness, scientific and historical points of interest, current events, and tours of local attractions, to learning how to use the latest technology such as smartphones and social media. All in non-credit classes in a no-stress atmosphere taught by volunteer instructors. Not only have the members of this group inspired future generations to invest their time and energy in supporting our community's spirit and growth through their continued participation in community events and volunteerism, but also in creating a system for continued adult personal enrichment and lifelong learning opportunities beyond formal academics. It is for this reason we award the Inspire Award to the St. John Valley Senior College. Would Scott Bazin please come forward and accept this award?
So I feel really young to be accepting this award tonight. I get to work with learners of every age in the work that I do. And I need to tell you, the most fun group that I get to work with on any given day, and I apologize to any college students or high school students or middle school students in the room, the best group is the senior college group. And we have our senior college board meetings. I like to arrive early, because they always do. I like to stay late to see pictures of grandkids and of trips they've taken. But what an absolutely wonderful group of people to work with. And they've truly inspired the community to come together and continue learning and make it a lifelong thing. So kudos to all of you who are members of the senior college in here. Kudos to members of the board. I see a few of you sitting around here, and I gladly accept this on your behalf. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott. Innovate Award. The definition of innovate is to introduce something new or make changes in something established, especially by introducing new methods, ideas, or products. This business has empowered all types of people by proving to individuals that they could do things that they probably never thought possible for themselves. They have inspired, motivated, coached, and encouraged many, creating a following of people who have developed a love of improving their health. This is not your ordinary fitness center. A few months ago, they also started a CrossFit Kids program to introduce little ones to a healthy lifestyle. Not only are they doing great things for individuals in the community, they are also doing great things for the community as a whole. They have done such workouts as burpees for turkeys, to raise money to purchase turkeys for the food pantry, breast cancer awareness fundraiser workout to raise money for a local breast cancer support group, and they also collect donations from their members for the Hope and Justice Project. We are pleased to congratulate Too Far North Fitness for bringing something new to our community that does so much positive for others. Can I please have Rick and Cassie come forward to accept this award? The award reads, Chamber of Commerce recognizes Too Far North Fitness for recognizing a much-needed service in our community by encouraging positive changes for a healthy lifestyle. Okay, we have the LEAD Award. The definition of lead: to guide or show someone the way, to be in front or provide a route to. A huge driving force in our area, clearing the way, making things safe, leading thousands of people through multiple routes and allowing access to support our local businesses. This is very crucial to our economy. Time, commitment, leadership, and persistence are all qualities of these individuals and groups. Businesses and our local residents recognize the importance and appreciate their dedication to maintaining the land. Living in an area lucky enough to have an abundance of land to utilize through recreation throughout the year, all while enjoying the outdoors. We are fortunate enough to have organizations to support this. The first to lead the way after every snowstorm, these folks put in long days, nights, and hours of grooming or fixing broken groomers. They spend many weeks before the season clearing trails of fallen trees, water holes, and washouts, sometimes having to reroute a trail due to logging operations or other obstacles. The same goes for the ATV trails in the spring. Most people don't realize the time and effort behind maintaining these trails, keeping them safe, all the while allowing access for the enjoyment of not only our locals, but people all over the country coming to our area. These people take great pride in their work, which is why Aroostook County is nationally recognized in the top 5 for its trail maintenance. It gives us great pleasure to present the LEAD Award to 4 very deserving organizations. If I could have representatives from Carterbrook Snowbirds, Slidebrook Snow Riders, Valley ATV Riders, and the Fort Kent Snow Riders, please come forward to receive this award. The award reads, for your drive, dedication, and volunteerism, keeping trails maintained, ensuring safety, enjoyment, and access throughout all our local communities. Thank you. Support your local club, buy a membership. Yeah. See? My final award for the evening, our Member of the Year. The Chamber of Commerce awards one of its members with the Chamber Member of the Year Award, a truly important and prestigious honor. Criteria that are considered when selecting the recipient is how this member impacts our community, exhibits selflessness, and gives back to our community. After optometry school, he moved back to his roots at Fort Kent and purchased an existing practice on West Main Street in Fort Kent in 1995. Feeling growing pains and the need to expand, the practice relocated to their current location on Meadow Lane, expanding from 4 employees to 10 employees. Throughout the years, from administrative support, opticians, and an additional optometrist. This member has been past president of the Maine Optomic Association and a strong advocate for legislation for increased vision care access for rural Mainers. Most recently, his team was awarded overall winner by the Kleinman Performance Partners for maximizing practice development and efficiency. This member encourages and promotes its employees to live, work, and give back to the communities within the Greater Fort Kent Chamber area and participates in various chamber-sponsored events with enthusiasm and creativity. From gathering school supplies to cooking and flipping eggs, you will see he and his staff graciously volunteering their time to support commerce in our region and for various local nonprofit organizations that assist with meeting basic needs for our friends and neighbors, providing educational lectures on disease awareness and prevention, providing free vision exams for infants 6 to 12 months of age, and collecting and donating used eyeglasses for various age groups. Collectively, their ability to see a need, fill a need, vision for future commerce within our membership region, and commitment for the continuity of business now and for the future truly encompasses our annual dinner theme, Inspire, Innovate, and Lead. I am pleased to present this year's Member of the Year award to Dr. Timothy Rioux. Congratulations.
It's truly humbling to be recognized as something that you've done amongst a group of people who have all done the same, if not more. So I thank you for that recognition. That the whole idea of volunteerism and giving back to the community is something that was instilled upon me as a young individual through my parents who were leaders, Dad being a past president of the Chamber, past president of the Snow Riders Club, past president of the Lions Club, Knights of Columbus. So those are all things that were given to me as a young individual, and I kind of carried it on. So those of you who have young children, they're watching. One of the comments I heard many years ago at a UMFK commencement speech when Senator George Mitchell was the guest speaker and John Martin was giving the introduction. And the comment he made was, if you want to be great, surround yourself by people that are better than you. And I am very fortunate to have had that opportunity. I started with a small practice, and I had some great people who were there longer than me, who have now retired, and I have not. But I now have another great group that surrounds me, and I'm very fortunate to have them to continue to provide to the community. But most of all, I want to thank my wife, who has allowed me those opportunities to give back to the community. Because with a young family, it's not an easy thing to do when they have sports or scouts or whatever activity that you want them to be involved in, so that they can become that next leader within your community. So thank you for this opportunity. It's truly appreciated. Thank you.
Congratulations to all of our award winners. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to call upon Mr. Don Guimont to bestow the highest honor given annually to one of our citizens. He will present the 2018 Citizens of the Year Award.
I think the Knights of Columbus need to follow Father Labrie's lead and have handrails installed like he did at St. Louis Church. Those of us who have, unlike Dr. Rioux, have recently retired, then went on and broke their leg, it gets a little difficult to maneuver these steps. I've only been off crutches for a couple of weeks, so, and these are a lot higher than county physical therapy. I have been going to therapy a couple times a week, and there's quite a crew of characters there. And we look outside and we see this cold weather and this ice and this snow, and we affectionately, I guess, call it CPT weather. County Physical Therapy weather, because of all the injuries that occur out there in this kind of weather. I might regret this comment because when I go back, they have a license to inflict pain. Maybe on the receiving end, but who knows. Anyway, I think folks, I don't know if they felt sorry for me or what, but they elected me to present this award, and hopefully I'll do a decent job of it. Before I do that, some of you may know or may not know that after I got done work, late summer, early fall, I decided to take a trip across the country. And I traveled northwest, so I missed Alabama because that's a little bit south. But it might be another place to go someday. And I traveled all the way to North Dakota and crossed the border in North Dakota into Canada, where our friends and neighbors are. And I went to a place called Fort Kent, Alberta, which is kind of interesting. It's a very, very small community, only a couple hundred people. And I arrived there, and there's not a lot. Like everything on the out west, everything is a grid. And so there's a four-corner intersection, and there's a church, and what I think used to be a store, and that's it. That's the center of the community, and some recreational activities like skating rinks and what have you. And there was really, in the middle of the day, there's really not a lot of people walking around in a community of a couple hundred people. So I went for a walk in the cemetery and looked at the old headstones. Michaud, dead, Landry, Bossé, all names that are common to this region. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I suppose it may have been settled by somebody from this area, but it certainly was named after us, because it was settled a little later. And I came back home through Canada and crossed to New Brunswick, crossed the border back here. And I can tell you, as beautiful as the country was on both sides, and I did most of my traveling off the interstate, because you don't see anything on the interstate. As beautiful as it was, home is home. And as Darnell alluded to, it's nice and green for the most part, except for 6 months. Pure white snow is pretty nice too. We live in a beautiful region, and you folks, as Darnell alluded to, take pride in your community and you volunteer in your communities, and that's what makes our community so good. And this year's recipient of the Citizen of the Year Award is a prime example of that. Okay, here I go. I'm going to have to cut a few things because when you get to be the last one to speak, some folks have already said what they told me to say. So anyway, in order to be considered for this award, a nomination must be received by the community. The individual must reside in the Greater Fort Kent Area Chamber of Commerce service area. They must be a minimum age of 45. They must have made significant impact on the lives of the citizens of this region and must have demonstrated continuous volunteer service to the region, all for the greater good of this area. The citizens of our communities, and not for personal financial gain by the recipient. Our region is blessed with a high level of volunteerism and community involvement. Without this, our region will not be as special as it is. This year's recipient is a prime example of what makes us special. Each year, the committee, which is made up of past recipients of the award, meets to review the nominations that have been received. This year, over 20 former Citizen of the Year members reviewed and discussed the nominations and then voted by secret ballot to select this year's recipient. And I have to say, it ended up being a unanimous vote. In your brochure on page 22, you have a list of past honorees, many of whom have completed their service to our region and are no longer with us. This is where I was supposed to announce all those that are here and have them stand, but that part has already occurred. So, but I would like for you folks to refer to that page, and I will read the names of those folks that are still with us. And if they choose to stand, please do when we can recognize them at the end. Henry Legs Labrie, Carlton Savage, Albin Bouchard, Bruce Freeman, Phil Sussy, Dr. Paul Johnson, Danny Nicholas, Dr. Mark Chassé, Gary Saucier, Marlene Pooler, Claude Dumont, Mickey Leveille, Ben Perdy, Rita Canan, Yuri Michaud. And we have a couple that are husband and wife, Lucian and Marie Theriault, Carl Theriault, Alan Dow. They made a mistake and they nominated me once. Francis Labrie, Paul Bouchard, James Thibodeau, Nancy Thibodeau, Ellery Arms Labby, 2 brothers, Norman Fournier, Pat Dow, Laura Audebert, and Donald and Anna Rainey. There's also some couples that received the award individually in different years, but there were 2 couples that received it together because oftentimes it is a joint affair, as has been mentioned. Oh, and I forgot last year's recipient, which is Norman Martin. Historically, the announcement of the honoree is kept secret until the very end. I will attempt to abide by this, but I expect that some of you present here today will figure this out long before I get to the end. I have about 20 hints, so I'll be here a little while. I'll start with hint number 1. This morning, I was turning the page of my old-fashioned wall calendar. I still use paper and on the wall. And I noticed that today was the American Heart Association National Wear Red Day. Well, folks, those of you that are wearing red, you're not in the running for the Citizen of the Year. But congratulations on wearing red for such an important event. At this time, before I continue, I'd like to read a paragraph from the nomination form which stated, in part, some of the reasons for the nomination. Her passion for volunteering is just about every major, her passion for volunteering at just about every major event is reflective of her willingness to give back to her community. Her ability to take on major roles in so many of our large events shows that she is dependable and a skillful team player who is always happy to share her time, talents, and resources for the betterment of the organization she is assisting and the people they serve. If you haven't figured it out, hint number 2, if you're a male, you're not in the running. Hint number 3, if you are not a graduate of Fort Kent Community High School and the University of Maine, they're not the honoree. Hint number 4, if you have not served the University of Maine at Fort Kent or the University of Maine system, you are not the honoree. Our honorees served on the UMFK Board of Visitors in multiple capacities, such as Secretary, President, and a member of the Presidential Search Committee. And if you're on this side of the room, you're not the nominee. And I'll be looking at this side of the room so I can avoid the nominee. As an aside, our nominee has a bit of a character flaw. She approached me to serve on the UMFK Board of Visitors some time ago. Well, it must be 2 terms ago, so that would have been, what, 8 years ago or something like that? When she approached me, she said, they meet 3 or 4 times a year and you're well fed. Well, her statement was partially right. You are certainly well fed. But I think we met more like 3 or 4 times a month instead of 3 or 4 times a year. But in spite of that character flaw, she did it for the right reasons and it was for the good of the community that she lives in. So we'll forgive her of that. In addition, our nominee currently serves as a trustee on the University of Maine System Board of Trustees and as vice chair of the board. In order to serve as a trustee, this individual was nominated by the governor and confirmed by the Maine legislature. Hint number 5, if you are not self-employed, you are not the recipient of this award. Our nominee, like her father, who happens to be a prior recipient of the Citizen of the Year award, that's hint number 6, by the way, owns and operates her own business. Hint number 7, if you have not been involved in the Fort Kent Outdoor Center, you are not the recipient. This year's honoree has volunteered her time during the various World Cup and other biathlon festivities, as well as the Rally in the Valley bike event hosted at the Outdoor Center. I'm fidgeting because this is swelling up here, so don't mind me. Hint number 8, if you have not been involved with the Lonesome Pine Trails, you are not the recipient of the award. The honoree has served Lonesome Pine Trails in a variety of capacities, including president of the board, served on the advertising campaign, learned to ski and junior ski programs, various other Lonesome Pine Trail committees, volunteered at ski races and a multitude of other activities, associated with the success of Lonesome Pine Trails. Hint number 9. If you have not been involved, remember I told you there was 20. If you have not been involved in the following list of activities, you are not this year's recipient. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to go from hint number 9 to hint number 19, all in one fell swoop. If you have not been involved in the following list of activities, you are not this year's recipient, as I said. Can-Am International Sled Dog Races, volunteer. Northern Aroostook Regional Airport Authority, board member. Northern Maine Medical Center Community Liaison Committee, and the Physician Retention and Recruitment Committee. Bike Maine 2018 volunteer coordinator. And those of you who witnessed that event this last summer, what a spectacular event for our community. The Zion Land Group leader, which takes place in the Edmundston area. The Maine, Quebec, New Brunswick Core Leadership Team board member. MSE 27 Nordic ski coach, which achieved first girls state Nordic ski championship for the region. And I put up with her on the Town of Fort Kent Budget Committee. Actually, she was pretty good. And a number of other accomplishments, no less important, but simply too numerous to mention. Hint number 20, and the final hint. In Fort Kent, we see a number of individuals walking the mills. This individual can be seen from time to time spending quality time with her mother, which is all family is always important. Going around the mills before work, after work, and when you're self-employed, sometimes even during work hours. So, in recognition of National Wear Red Day, and on behalf of the Greater Fort Kent Area Citizen of the Year Committee, it is my privilege to present this year's recipient, complete with her reddish hair, and right now, slightly reddish face, Kelly Martin. The award reads 2019 Greater Fort Kent Area Chamber of Commerce Citizenship Award presented to Kelly A. Martin in recognition of her outstanding contributions of time, talent, and effort for the welfare of our area communities. And I suspect A does not stand for Aliceville. State of Maine legislative sentiments are significant expressions of the sense of the legislature. They are a public declaration that honors a personal achievement. I would like to invite our representative, John Martin, to come forward for this presentation.
Let me begin by when she was nominated to be a member of the Board of Trustees. First question that the committee asked, are you related to John Martin? And we both looked one down and said, no way. I do want to congratulate everyone that was here today and how pleased I am to be with you. I need to say that Troy is not here because, as you know, he's been elected President of the Senate and he has a new role, which I used to do when I was Speaker, and you have, on certain days, committed to do something whether you like it or not, so he sends his apologies. I do have a letter for him. I must say that being and doing this in secret is a real problem, and the internet has not helped me at all. Again, it happened tonight. Someone came to me and said, we went to the internet to find out the schedule for next Tuesday, and we couldn't find who the nominee was for Fort Kent. 3 years ago, I learned my lesson, and so now I get it done, signed, and it will appear on Tuesday's calendar when I introduced it on Tuesday, so it did not appear in the work that's been done today. Otherwise, someone tonight came in and said, by the way, we didn't find this in the schedule for the hearing that's going to come on Tuesday. I said, well, you'll have to wait because it will be appeared when I put it in on Tuesday, not before. So you can check the legislative schedule for Tuesday and you'll see the entire order. And it reads, let it be known to all that members of the House and Senate join in recognizing Kelly A. Martin of Fort Kent, the Vice Chair of the Board of Trustees of the University of Maine System, who has received the Citizen of the Year Award from the Greater Fort Kent Area Chamber of Commerce for her service and the many important roles she has filled as a volunteer community. We extend our congratulations and best wishes, and be it ordered that this official expression of sentiment is set forthwith on behalf of the 129th Legislature and the people of the state of Maine. Signed, and it says this, given the 31st day of January, and of course, as you know, it will appear on the calendar at the State House, Augusta, Maine, signed by the President of the Senate, the Speaker of the House, the Clerk, and the Senate Chair, and as introduced by myself and the good Senator from Rioux, Senator Jackson. Congratulations.
Wow. Speechless. I'd like to just say that I'm very honored to be from this community, and like Tim Rioux said, I grew up around a lot of great people, taught me how to volunteer, and I look around how fortunate we are in this community, and it's because of all of us in this room and in this community that lend a helping hand to allow us to have the many things that urban areas have, but they have to pay dearly for, and it's all done on volunteers' backs here. You know, the golf course, the ski area, just to name a few. There's so many that I shouldn't even be naming any, because there's so many organizations that are run by volunteers, and we wouldn't have that if it wasn't for volunteers in a small area like this. So very honored to be from this community, and very honored to be with the people from this community. They're all great people. So thank you very much.
Congratulations, Kelly. It's definitely well deserved. The Chamber would like to extend a special thank you to Susan Tardy and the University of Maine at Fort Kent for the compilation of the annual report, Christina Bolia, Chris Michaud, and George Duval for the photos in our annual booklet, and Don Raymond for the scroll enjoyed on the overhead projector this evening. A big thank you to our keynote speaker, James Pineau. Congratulations, Darnell and the Board of Directors, and congratulations to all the awards winners this evening. Thank you, Jen, for your assistance as well. It was much appreciated and fun again this year. We'll see you all next year. Have yourselves a wonderful evening.